welcome to the 16th edition of the iconic Jaipur Literature Festival 2023. Another year of unforgettable speakers, compelling conversations, an array of satellite events, and most of all, an incredible audience. We welcome those who return each year, unable to resist the festival's magnetic pull, and those who return year after year, compelled and time-bound by your love for books and their writers, ideas which define the world, and the undeniable power of debate and discourse, which this festival encourages, empowers, and inspires. Let us now light the ceremonial lamp, the light of knowledge, and declare this incredible festival open. May I please invite Abdulrazak, Gurnah, our festival directors, Namita Gokhale and Dalrymple, festival producer Sanjoy Roy, and our wonderful partners from the Clark's Amer, Apurv Kumar and Timmy Kumar.
शारदे मां श्वेत वसना वंदना स्वीकार कर हो रहे पथ भ्रांत सारे विश्व का उद्धार कर शारदे मां शारदे मां शारदे
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please request Festival Producer, Managing Director, Teamwork Arts, if I can please request Sanjoy to please come on stage and say a few words.
Abdulrazak Gurnah, a Nobel laureate and chief guest this evening, Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, our writers who've traveled from across the world, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 16th Jaipur Literature Festival. 16 years ago, who would have even envisaged when we began at Diggi Palace's Darbar Hall that we would grow into what is considered to be amongst the largest literary gatherings in the world, with a spread all the way from Adelaide in Australia to Boulder in the United States and all the bits in between. It's been an incredible journey that we've taken, and it's really been about bringing people together, bringing writers and ideas and thoughts and expressions onto one platform. For the past 16 years, we had no idea that we would be building what we have today, the Jaipur Literature Festival and the JLFs across the world. It's happened mostly by accident. Initially, I remember Willie had tweeted saying that the three of us on our mobile phones put this all together. But behind those mobile phones is a team of almost 4,000 people. There are over 400 volunteers who are trained for over 4 months by our colleagues from the Yuva Ekta Foundation and our colleagues from Teamwork. They come together with all of these service providers and vendors and so many people who make this festival what it is. The reason I'm able to greet people at the entrance smiling every day is that I don't do very much except do the speeches in the morning, and that's my job and my duty. But it's really our colleagues that put this together, and a big thank you to all of them. Thank you. It's wonderful to be back here live, on ground with so many of you together. What was really heartening in the morning is when I met 60 students from Amity in Pune who had traveled out, and about 40 students from Varanasi from a school there. Last year, we missed having young people at the festival. Our whole aim and focus from the very beginning has been, can we create a platform where young people come to engage with writers and ideas? Till 2020, 80% of our audiences were below the age of 25. We believe that this is the generation that will bring about change in the world. A world perhaps that we, our generation, has abused in so many different ways and failed. Today, climate crisis continues to be one of the biggest issues that we are facing. Yesterday, with Shambi Sharp, the resident commissioner of the United Nations, and Radhika Kaur Batra, we signed an MOU to ensure that all our festivals and conventions and programs that we do will go green. We're aiming to become both waste neutral as well as carbon neutral. We are working with Earth Day to plant trees and offset the carbon footprint of each one of you who travel out to the festival. It is a long journey. A lot needs to be done. In Varanasi at our Mahindra Kabira Festival, we're very proud to be audited as a carbon neutral and waste neutral festival. Our request to each one of you here, as we gathered every day for the next 5 days, is to ensure that you limit the plastic usage, ensure that every bit of garbage that you see around you is picked up and placed in the many waste paper bins. We will try and sort them out at the back and ensure that there's a limited amount that goes to landfill. Much that you see around here, and this is one of Clark Hotel's primary vision, is really about recycling. If you see the happy bird on the left-hand side, or the camel, or the rhinoceros around you, all of it has been done by recycled material. 2 years ago, or rather in 2022, we moved to Clark's, the Legacy Hotel, the oldest hotel, five-star hotel in Rajasthan, which this year celebrates 50 years. Apurv, Timmy, and to your family, thank you all for welcoming us. To Jyotika and Rampratap, thank you for being our initiators and our hosts for so many years. To Serena Narula and HS, our original sponsors of the Jaipur Literature Festival, a big thank you for making sure that this festival found its feet. I remember in the second year, Serena wasn't there. I think Amir Khan had come to the festival. HS came up to me and said, HS is Serena's husband, who Serena bullies to be able to support the arts in many ways, not just in London, but across the world. And HS came up to me and said, I don't think you all know what you've been able to create. This is going to go on to become one of the biggest events in the world. And really what he said at that point of view in many ways came true. So a big debt of gratitude to both of you, Serena, HS, for continuing to support the arts and for being with us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the festival continues to evolve and its programming is at the heart of everything that we do. We have festival co-directors Namita Gokhale and William Dalrymple who work day in and day out with our colleagues at Teamwork to put this program together and bring in writers from across the world, some of the best that you'll see and hear. This is stuff that money cannot buy, and we're absolutely delighted to welcome you all here to the 16th Jaipur Literature Festival. May I please welcome Namita Gokhale to come and share with you some of the program highlights for the next few days. Namita.
जयपुर लिट फेस्ट में आप सभी साहित्य रसिकों का हार्दिक स्वागत है। माघ का महीना है, रंगों और पतंगों का मौसम आ गया है। दुनिया के इस अनूठे गुलाबी शहर में जेएलएफ नई सजधज, नई उमंग के साथ फिर से आया है। पिछले 16 सालों से चल रहे इस विशाल कारवां में हर साल दुनिया के विभिन्न हिस्सों से, तमाम भाषाओं से नए नए लेखक, अनुवादक, प्रकाशक, हर तरह के किताब प्रेमी साथ जुड़ते आ रहे हैं और साहित्य का यह महाकुंभ, ये हमारा कथा सरित सागर निरंतर बड़े से बड़ा होता जा रहा है। यह साहित्योत्सव सबके लिए ज़रूरी इसलिए बना हुआ है क्योंकि यहाँ जाने कितने अनसुनी, अनजानी आवाज़ों को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर, राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भी पहली बार सुना गया है। ये भी एक तरह का महाकुंभ है, महायज्ञ है। इस साल हमने अनुवाद और अनुवादकों पर विशेष ध्यान दिया है। हमने 14 अंतर्राष्ट्रीय भाषाएं और 20 भारतीय भाषाओं से वक्ता चुने हैं। ये एक दुर्लभ अवसर है। साहित्य और विचारों की दुनिया जब तक लोकतांत्रिक है, सहनशील है, तब तक दुनिया में उम्मीद और सद्भाव है। हमें इसे बनाए रखना है, हमें इसे बचाए रखना है। धन्यवाद। And then a little bit of glimpse into the programming. So welcome, dear friends, lovers of literature. A special welcome to my dear friend Serena Narula, one of the first people to believe in this festival, and also a very special welcome to friends from Boulder and from JLF editions around the world. Once again, in the month of Magh, as the kites return to the winter skies, the world's largest, most beloved literature festival returns to the Pink City. My co-director, William Dalrymple, has helped to put together a stellar list of speakers from around the world. Sanjoy, Roy, and Teamwork Arts have brought new vision and dimensions. As for me, I have struggled as ever to examine the world from the ground up and make sense of it. Over the last 16 years, this annual literary pilgrimage, this Mahakumbh of readers and writers, this Katha Saritsagar, this sea of stories, has been transformative for so many people. The past year was an important landmark in the world recognition of Indian and South Asian literature. International Booker Prize winning Hindi writer Gitanjali Shree and her English translator Daisy Rockwell, English meaning in English, her American translator Daisy Rockwell join us for a stellar 2023 edition. Sri Lankan author Shehan Karunatilaka, winner of the Booker Prize, returns to Jaipur. And he had got the DSC prize here many years ago for his first book. So it's a very good return. We are deeply honored to be hosting Nobel laureate Abdulrazak Gurnah, and we have so many other international and Sahitya Akademi awardees. Our programming focus has quite naturally gravitated to translations and to forefronting new and unheard voices. India is, in every sense, a multilingual nation and culture. We present 20 Indian languages across our sessions and panels. We have 22 national languages, and 20 of them will be here to be heard and listened and understood and recognized. There are also 14 international languages represented. There is so much more in store. Simon Sebag Montefiore speaks of history and how the patterns of the past impact the present and the future. Siddharth Mukherjee discusses his extraordinary new book, The Song of the Cell. Yatindra Mishra tells us of the one and only Lata Mangeshkar. Gulzar Sahib and Javed bring Hindi, Hindustani, and Urdu to new life with their exalted poetry. Recent literary biographies of the great Hindi writers Agyay and Nirmal Verma throw light on the evolution of contemporary Hindi. We have Nandan Nilekani on his latest book, The Art of Bitfulness. Marcus du Sautoy discusses the fundamental mathematical concepts that form the cornerstones of our existence. Khalid Javed and Bara Faruqi of the JCB Prize-winning book, The Paradise of Food, are here with us. Tech journalist Vahini Vara on her recent novel, The Immortal King Rao, beautiful book. Writer and Ambedkarite rapper Sumit Samos. French novelist Ananda Devi, whose work incorporates French, Hindi, and Creole, speaks of Indian Ocean literature. There's also a strong strand of discussions around Sanskrit literature and texts. Shashi Tharoor joins us to talk of nurturing and sustaining democracy. Sudha Murthy shares her wisdom and her beliefs. Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni brings her new novel, Independence. There are writers from far and near, literary figures like Chigozi Obiama, Preeti Taneja, Jerry Pinto, Dr. Anamika Alka Saraugi, to illuminate us with their words and writings. I too have a new book out, an anthology titled Mystics and Skeptics, and I'm happy with that too. The Jaipur Bookmark will return on ground for its 10th edition. It is curated by the multifaceted Manisha Chaudhary, award-winning translator and a very, very seasoned professional publishing person. We celebrate the core values of publishing and share our learnings on the evolving face of the book trade. And we are supported by the Norwegian Embassy and by Norla, as in previous years. So thank you for that. We present the Vani Translation Prize and the Kanhaiya Lal Sethia Award. There are several exciting announcements in store on the literary front as well. So every January, the world visits Jaipur and Jaipur visits the world. From geopolitics to planetary consciousness, history, religion, spirituality, prose, poetry, argumentative discourse, we bring you multiple perspectives from the greatest literary show on earth. Thank you for joining this voyage of discovery. Thank you again. And here is my dear co-director, William Dalrymple.
Thank you. Watching that opening ceremony, I thought that other literary festivals may do what they do, but no one does mayhem like we do. May have told this story before, but I remember our very, very first attempt at running this festival in the Durbar Hall, which was our only platform in Diggy Palace back in whatever it was, 2006. And at the opening ceremony, having lit the lamp, the hall was still 3/4 empty with about 30 people present. And then luckily we managed to fill out because this extraordinary number of Japanese people started turning up. And of course they were tourists who'd got lost looking for Amer Fort, but they were but they sat just where we needed them most through the first tricky hour of the festival, looking slightly surprised to see us there, but very politely moved on. Since then, we've grown a little, and the pandemic, looking at you all here this morning, has done nothing to still the enthusiasm of people for the written world. This year, we have every single major book award winner in the world present. The Nobel, the Booker, the International Booker, the JCB, the Sahitya Akademi, the Baillie Gifford, the National Book Award, the Women's Prize, and so on and so on. We really do have every one of this year's most celebrated authors with us on the ground after the pandemic, and it's just thrilling. We have grown in the most wonderful way, but I still love the description given by Time Out from, I think, about 2007. They said, "It's settled. The Jaipur Literature Festival is officially Woodstock, Live 8, and Ibiza of world literature, with an ambience that can only be described as James Joyce meets Monsoon Wedding." It still remains the best description, I think. Namita has put together an extraordinary program, and it's my job to add a little international spice on top of that. We are incredibly proud to have Abdulrazak Gurnah, the Nobel Prize winner, with us heading our program, sitting in the front row and lighting our lamp today. We also have a kind of extraordinary sort of busload of Booker Prize winners, present and past. The International Booker, Shehan, who won the other Booker. We've got previous winners, Bernardine Evaristo and Marlon James. It's sort of such a garden of delight. I'm particularly proud that we've got this year's the non-fiction Booker equivalent, the Baillie Gifford winner, Catherine Rundle, who will be speaking immediately after this on her extraordinary book on John Donne. And I'd like to thank my publisher, Alexander Pringle, who brought this to my attention long before she'd even been published, never mind won any awards, and who I initially resisted, and now, as we should always learn, just do what Alexandra says, and all will be well. We've also got a lot of the shortlist from the Baillie Gifford, including the wonderful Anna Kay on Cromwell's Commonwealth. A lot of lovely archaeology, something that we haven't always concentrated on. We've got Rebecca Ragsykes talking about our distant cousins, the Neanderthals, and how much of their genes live on in some of us, particularly those of us here from Western Europe. We turn out to be more Neanderthal than you lot, apparently. We've got David Wengrow on the dawn of everything and the importance of the Indus Valley civilization and how remarkably egalitarian it was compared to these very hierarchical societies in the Middle East and Egypt. Of course, this year, with the politics being what it is, we've got a whole lot of programming about Russia and Ukraine, including Anthony Beaver, Orlando Figes, and Simon Sebag Montefiore, three of the greatest modern historians of Russia writing in English. A great deal, too, on the British Empire. We've got the great Pulitzer Prize winner Caroline Elkins on the legacy of violence. A lot on the slave trade, which is something we shamefully haven't covered to date. We've got Vincent Brown, Chris Manjapra, and David Olusoga on the transatlantic slave trade and the slave plantations. Alex Renton talking about his slave-owning ancestors from the other side, and Satnam Sanghera speaking about the need to educate the British on their imperial past because they just don't learn it at school. We have new stars like Mariam Aslani talking about the global crisis in agriculture with Mukhalika Banerjee. And we showcase some cutting-edge science, particularly I'm looking forward to Merlin Sheldrake's session on mushrooms and how they alter our mind and the world. And the Wood Wide Web, which is one of the nicest coinage that he's come up with. And we have, of course, Siddhartha Mukherjee, Pulitzer Prize winner on The Song of the Cell. Closer to home, India-China relations. We've got 3 or 4 sessions on that, something, again, we've ignored more than we should have done to date, and now something being brought right back into focus. I can see General G.J. Singh in the front, who'll be speaking, among many other authors, on that. Concentrating on women writers and women artists, with Miranda Simo and on Jean Rhys, Katie Hessel on unrecognized women artists, Anthony Satin on nomads, Edmund Duval with The Hair of the Amber Eyes, and finally, of course, 75 years on from both independence and the great tragedy of partition that came with it. We have a whole raft of programming looking back on that catastrophic event and the bloodshed and the tragedies and the love also which came with it. It's going to be cerebral heaven, an utterly magnificent feast of the mind, a kind of super university peopled with fellows of all tolls. I can see Shantanu Das in the front row, with great minds from St. Stephen's, from Harvard, from Yale, all available for free alongside these Nobel Prize winners. It's an utterly magnificent feast of the mind, sustaining inspiration, and we look forward to welcoming you back to Jaipur. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, William. And for all of you who know, if the festival, if people can't come to us in 2020 when the lockdown started, pretty much on the 4th of April, we began a series called JLF's Brave New World and Words Are Bridges. We were doing this from our homes. We had no idea who was watching. But pretty much in the first season, over 4.5 million people logged on to watch one or the other session. By the time we got to the Jaipur Literature Festival 2021 and 2022, we had over 25 million people watching our sessions online. Even as I speak, all of this is being streamed. They're completely new audiences. Earlier, we used to have #1 and #2 was the United States and the United Kingdom, followed by the other Commonwealth countries. Today, our international audiences still continue to be the United States and United Kingdoms 1 and 2. But 3 and 4 is China and Germany. #5 is Indonesia. #6 is Uzbekistan. No idea why. Please don't ask me why. We have no idea. #9 is Japan. So these are countries that we had never earlier thought of reaching out to. But we extend our program, and from our 3 venues, we're going live: the Front Lawn, the Charbagh, and the Darbar Hall. The other venues will be delayed live. So for all of you who can't catch one session or the other, please remember you can go home and watch the other sessions at your own time and own pace. Absolutely. Most importantly, for the kids who can't come to us from schools that are from economically difficult regions, we, with our partners, Pratham Books, are reaching out to over 100 schools, and with their sponsors, we're setting up libraries this year in 50 schools to ensure that kids have access to books, even if they can't come here. Back to Ankur to welcome our keynote speaker for today, and I'd like to take this occasion also to thank our country partner, the Royal Embassy of Norway, the Norwegian Embassy, and the Ambassador, Hans, who's sitting here with us. Thank you so much for your support, and for the new program of translations that we're going to be embarking on. Much more about that at the Jaipur bookmark program, which starts tomorrow with our new advisor, Manisha Chaudhary. I don't know where Manisha is. Oh, hi, Manisha. Good to see you here. Manisha has joined us for our Jaipur bookmark program, and we'll speak about that on the 20th. Ankur, back to you.
Thank you, Sanjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, now allow me to invite on stage celebrated writer and Nobel laureate, Abdulrazak Gurnah. He is the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature 2021. He is the author of 10 novels that include Memory of Departure, Pilgrim's Way, Doughty Paradise, shortlisted for the Booker Prize and the White Bread Award, By the Sea, longlisted for the Booker Prize and shortlisted for the Los Angeles Times Book Award, Desertion, shortlisted for the Commonwealth Writers' Prize, and Afterlives, which was shortlisted for the Orwell Prize for Fiction 2021 and longlisted for the Walter Scott Prize. He was the professor of English at the University of Kent and was a Man Booker Prize judge in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abdulrazak Gurnah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for being here. The introduction was to say the keynote address. And I think, hey, how can I follow those keynote addresses that have already preceded me to say and to describe both the achievements of this festival and indeed what's coming, which sounds quite dauntingly busy. But here we go. I was asked to speak, of all things, about writing as a form of resistance. And I said, yes, okay, I'll speak about that. It sounds, it's a good way of describing what writing is. It sounds, well, noble, brave, taking on whatever, resisting. But resisting what? Or what is it that writing is resistance to, or can be resistance to? So that's much more interesting, because it kind of refers to the more ordinary aspect of what writing is about. The kind of sweat-stained business of working every day and piling up the pages, which of course most of you know about. So it isn't really about nobility and about bravery alone. It's also about just working, and working at perhaps things which go on all the time rather than inspirations or sudden epiphanies. But still, let's return to the question of resistance to what? Well, first of all, probably resistance to forgetfulness, resistance to not allowing what we know and what we remember to pass away unnoticed. It's in an important way, at least for me, in an important way, there is a kind of responsibility in that. But it's also resistance to distraction, to having our minds taken away from what our minds should be focusing on, and distracted by other things that might appear, on the first instance anyway, more appealing or more pleasant or more immediate. It's resistance to neglect, to be sure the things that we care for, the things that are important, are not neglected, are not distorted by other narratives, are not pushed away by people who wish to, inform us that the world is different from what our own knowledge and vision tells us. I think above all it's about upholding those ideas and beliefs that we think are important and that we value. So if somebody says writing as resistance, those are the kinds of things I think of, rather than necessarily fighting tyrants or necessarily standing on platforms and making powerful speeches to energize people, but more the ordinary, mundane business of not forgetting, of making sure that what is important is always kept alive. From the list of events and the list of participants, I know that many of those people, the work that they have been doing and are doing is precisely what I'm describing. So I think perhaps I'm not telling you all what you don't know, but writing is a form of resistance. I am reminding you that this is what writing is for. I look forward to all the events that are going to happen here, those I'll be able to watch. And it sounds as if for the rest of the year I can sit at home and watch this all streamed events that I haven't been able to attend and see. Thank you all very much. I look forward to it all.
Thank you, Mr. Gurnah. It is a rare honor to have heard you in person. A big and heartfelt thank you to each one of you present here today and for participating in the historic opening of the Jaipur Literature Festival 2023. Before we begin the next session, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our sponsors and partners. Ditol Banega Swasth India, our venue partners, Bank of Baroda, Jan Michaleski Foundation, and Hawthornden Foundation. Our session series partner, United States Mission India and Blue One Inc., supported by Rajasthan Tourism. Official digital payments partner, Paytm. Friends of the Festival launch partner, VFS Global. Session partners, the JCB Prize for Literature, UN Women, British Council, Murthy Classical Library of India, Penguin Random House India, Embassy of Ireland. Hospital partner, Manipal Hospitals, DLF, Ekank, online bookstore partner, Amazon.in, our other partners, Pocket FM and HarperCollins Publishers India. Our country partners, the Norwegian Embassy, and of course, our opening inaugural dinner partners, the beautiful Rambagh Palace, and of course, the Leela Palaces and Resorts for hosting the Writers' Ball and for looking after the Authors' Lounge and all our authors. May I please now hand over the stage to our venue managers, Nikita and Mridul, who will be your host for the next few days.
Thank you, Ankur, and thank you, Mr. Gurnah, for that beautiful keynote address. We'll begin our next session at 11 a.m. in roughly 10 minutes, which will be Super Infinite, the transformations of John Donne, Catherine Rundle in conversation with Nandini Das. So we urge you to sit for that and also attend all the other sessions that we'll be having at all the other venues. Thank you, and we'll see you shortly.